Remember when you used to walk into a room and actually remember why you were there? These days, it might feel like your brain's running dozens of tabs in the background, and suddenly one crashes. Or stare into the fridge, wondering what you came for. It's easy to shrug it off with a joke about getting older. But beneath the laugh, there's often a quiet question. Is this the beginning of something bigger? Yes, even after 60. And the habits you build in your 40s and 50s matter more than ever. This isn't just about preventing memory loss in the far-off future, it's about sharpening your focus today, staying quick on your feet in conversations, and feeling mentally clear even when life throws 10 things at you at once. In this video, we're going to explore a few simple but powerful brain exercises that actually work. Not crossword puzzles, not rote memorization drills, but activities that truly challenge your mind and stimulate the pathways that keep your memory alive. And before we dive in, take a second to tap that subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell too, so you don't miss the life-changing insights we've got coming your way. Your support genuinely fuels this channel. It helps us grow, helps more people benefit, and honestly, it just means a lot. If this video resonates with you, a like and share go a long way. And please drop a comment about which topics you want help with. This space is for you. Let's talk about your brain, one of the most underestimated ways to strengthen your memory. Learning something unfamiliar, I'm not talking about a tiny trivia fact you'll forget in a die, means something that forces your brain to build brand new connections, like picking up a new language or learning a musical instrument. Now, you might be thinking, that sounds like a lot of work. Studies show that language learning in later life doesn't just help with memory. It boosts attention span, listening skills, and even emotional regulation. And no, you don't need to become fluent. Even 15 minutes a day on an app or practicing a few phrases before a vacation can light up parts of your brain that otherwise stay idle. It's like waking up a neighborhood that's been napping for years. You hear the birds again, the lights turn on, and suddenly you're more alert in everyday moments, too. You start remembering that neighbor's name. You recall the second item on your grocery list. It's not magic, it's maintenance. Another exercise that seems simple but works wonders is storytelling, your own stories. Maybe to your spouse over dinner, maybe into a voice note on your phone. The act of pulling those memories forward, organizing them, giving them words, it strengthens memory pathways in real time. It also gives your mind something richer to hold on to than just tasks and deadlines. You might start with your first job or the weirdest vacation you ever took, or how you met your closest friend. Don't worry about sounding polished. Just tell it as you felt it. Memory isn't just a file cabinet, it's a living, breathing network. And every time you bring a piece of it back to life, you reinforce your ability to remember more. Let's keep going. There's more. Your brain's just waiting to be invited into. It's funny how we'll spend hours scrolling news feeds, juggling emails, or flipping through streaming shows, and still feel mentally foggy. That's not stimulation at scatter. What your brain actually craves is focus, depth, challenge. And the next exercise hits all three. Chess. Or, if that's not your thing, checkers, bridge, even a strategy-heavy card game like Gin Rummy. It's not about competition. It's about calculation, planning ahead, adjusting when someone plays a move you didn't expect. That kind of mental work doesn't just sharpen your logic, it gives your brain the equivalent of a full-body workout. And here's the kicker. In fact, the learning curve is the goldmine. Each time you play and stretch just beyond what's comfortable, your brain forms new neural pathways. You're literally rewiring yourself to adapt, remember, and respond faster. One game at a time. Some of the sharpest people I know in their 70s and 80s meet weekly at a cafe, cups of tea in hand, trading wins and laughter over a back-and-forth game of dominoes. They don't think of it as brain training, but you can see it in their eyes. There's clarity, there's alertness, their minds move, and speaking of movement, one of the most powerful cognitive tools we often forget. Physical exercise, especially when it's coordinated, rhythmic, and engages the whole body. Think dancing, think Tai Chi, think brisk walking while listening to a podcast you love. Movement increases blood flow to the brain. It delivers oxygen, encourages the growth of new brain cells, and helps regulate the hormones tied to mood, memory, and attention. But more than that, Movement anchors you to the present. It pulls you out of autopilot. It makes your thoughts move with purpose. Even 10 minutes can shift your whole outlook. So try this tomorrow morning. Before coffee, stretch your arms out, take 5 deep breaths, and go for a 10-minute walk with no distractions. Don't rush, just notice. Do the leaves look like today? How does your body feel as you move? The more you notice, the more your brain wakes up. Awareness is a quiet superpower, and it starts with simple steps. Because the truth is, we don't just want to stay sharp, we want to stay ourselves. To be able to laugh at our own jokes, to remember the stories that make us who we are. 2. Greet each day with the confidence that our mind is on our side. Let's keep moving. There's more ahead your brain will thank you for. Now, let's talk about something we don't always associate with brain health, but maybe we should storytelling. Not reading stories, telling them from memory to someone else. Whether it's your grandchild curled up on the couch, a friend, over coffee, or your spouse as you both wind down from the day sharing, a story forces your brain to access structure and express thoughts all at once. You're digging up a moment from years ago, maybe even decades. You're recreating details, faces, emotions. You're stringing it together in a way that makes sense to someone else. It's memory, language, empathy, and mental time travel all in one. And here's the best part. You don't have to be a great storyteller. You just have to be willing. Willing to reach back and let a memory breathe. Willing to say, did I ever tell you about the time we... Because each time you do, you're exercising one of the most powerful muscles in your brain, your ability to connect moments into meaning. That connection matters. It's what gives shape to your identity. And research shows that people who regularly engage in narrative recalls, at least those who share those stories, have stronger memory retention and emotional resilience later in life. So the next time a moment from the past pops into your head, don't push it aside. Share it. Let someone else feel it with you. Because in doing so, you're not just keeping a memory alive, you're keeping your brain alive too. Another surprising exercise: learning a new skill with your hands, knitting, wood, carving, playing a simple tune on a keyboard, even trying calligraphy. Anything that requires coordination between your hands and your brain engages what neuroscientists call neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to adapt, strengthen, and create new pathways. But here's the key: it has to be new. If you've done crosswords for 20 years, your brain already knows that terrain. But if you try crocheting a scarf, or assembling a model airplane, or baking a new kind of bread from scratch, your brain lights up. Not only that, but your focus deepens. You enter a kind of flow. A moment where time softens, and all you think about is that next stitch, that next cut, that next swirl of icing. It's meditative, it's calming, and it's one of the best ways to anchor your mind in the present, while expanding its capacity for the future. Think about that. Slowing down to learn something small might be the sharpest move you make all year. Because here's the truth: no one tells us in our 40s and 50s. You don't lose your mind with age, you lose it with neglect. But when you tend to it, like you would a garden or a friendship, it blooms again. The brain wants to grow. You just have to give it something to grow toward. And we've still got more ways to do exactly that. Let's spend a moment with one of the simplest tools you have: your breath. Not in a mystical Satana Mountain kind of way. I'm talking about 30 seconds at your desk, between Zoom calls, or standing in line at the store. Or right before you open that email you've been avoiding, close your eyes, inhale slowly through your nose for a count of 4. Hold for 4. Exhale through your mouth for 4. Feel that what you just did wasn't just to relax, was to train your prefrontal cortex to come back online. That's the decision-making, memory-forming, attention-holding part of your brain that gets hijacked when we're stressed or scattered. When you practice mindful breathing, even just a few rounds a day, you teach your brain how to stay steady amid the storm. It's not about being zen. It's about building mental muscle, one breath at a time. And when you do it regularly, let's say each morning while your coffee brews, or each night before bed, your brain starts to associate that rhythm with clarity, with calm, with presence. Over time, those micro moments compound. Your stress responses quiet down. Your recall sharpens. You remember where you left your keys. You stay calmer in conversations. You handle hiccups without spiraling. It's the kind of daily discipline that doesn't shout, but it stacks. Now let's talk about something that might seem unrelated, but hear me out. Dancing, not professionally, not even in front of anyone else, just movement in your kitchen, on your porch, to a playlist that takes you back a few decades or one your kids made that you secretly love. Dancing does more than make your body feel good. It fuses music, memory, rhythm, coordination, and emotion into one act, and it lights up your brain like fireworks. Each step activates your cerebellum for balance, your hippocampus for spatial memory, and your frontal lobes for timing and sequencing, all while releasing feel-good neurotransmitters like dopamine and endorphins, both essential for mood and memory. And it gets better. When you learn a new dance like salsa basics, or line dancing, or even a TikTok trend, your niece sends yo-yo, asking your brain to remember, adapt, and perform. That's high-level cognition wrapped in joy. There's no test, no right. Move, just you, your body, and the music. And each time you do it, you're building neural resilience, balance, and emotional flexibility. So many of us grew up thinking brain health was about books and puzzles and, yes, those matter, but the truth is, your brain wants variety. It wants emotion, movement, connection, focus. And when you give it those things, it pays you back with sharper recall, steadier moods, and that rarest of gifts after 60, a sense of lightness. There's one more brain exercise I want to share before we wrap things up. Let's talk about storytelling, not the kind with dragons or dazzling plots, but the everyday kind. The kind that begins with, I haven't thought about this in years, but, and suddenly, you're back in your childhood kitchen, or remembering your first job, or that road trip where the map flew out the window, sharing a story especially out loud. Lights up memory networks in powerful ways. You're reaching back into your brain to retrieve names, places, smells, emotions. You're structuring a narrative, choosing words, timing pauses, watching someone's face as they listen. That's complex. That's exercise. Even better, if you write it down, not perfectly, not grammatically, flawless, just enough to turn the moment into something you can hold. A few lines a day in a notebook, a voice memo you send to your kids, or a letter you never planned to send. Acts of remembering help you preserve not just facts, but meaning. They reignite neural pathways. They deepen your sense of identity. They make life feel stitched together, not scattered. And if you share those stories with others, your children, a friend, your partner, you create legacy. You say, this happened. I was there. It mattered. That, right there, is one of the best things you can do for your brain and for your soul. Now, if you've made it this far, I want to thank you. Seriously, you showed up not just for a video but for your future self. And that's something worth celebrating. Let's not forget, you don't need hours a day or perfect routines. You just need intention and a little consistency. So whether you're doodling in the margins, dancing in your socks, breathing between tasks, learning a language you've always wanted to speak, or telling a story from 1982 that still makes you laugh, know that you're investing in a brain that stays brighter, longer. You've got the tools, you've got the heart, and you've got time. If this video made you feel even a little more hopeful, more equipped, or more connected to what matters, please consider subscribing and tapping the bell so you don't miss what we've got coming next. We talk about the real stuff here, staying sharp, strong, and inspired in a world that moves fast. And if you know someone who could use this message, send it their way. You never know what one story, one step, or one moment of encouragement can spark in someone else. Leave us a comment below. What's your favorite way to keep your mind active? Or, is there something you're struggling with that you'd like us to cover next? We're listening. We're learning together. Here's to remembering more, forgetting less, and living with presence and power at every age.